We tend to think that the best gift we can give our children are the experiences we never had, right? The fancy cars, the great education, the trips, the travels, the clothes. And don't get me wrong, children will definitely appreciate that. The more I walk in this motherhood journey, I realize that the best and the deepest gift you can give your children is wholeness, your own wholeness, emotionally, financially, spiritually, mentally. When we're grounded and stable, we love from a place of overflow, not from a place of scarcity. Hi, my name is Elizabeth Tubajika, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I discuss real and raw conversations in regards to helping women get unstuck and just real life tools to help us face the unexpected confidently, courageously, and boldly. On this episode, this is actually a part 2 series episode of my previous episode, and you can watch it on the link. I basically talk about my own journey as a mom and the struggles I had with mental health and anxiety, wanting to break the cycle of emotional irregulation and anxiety, and understanding that intergenerational trauma does exist. And this is where I'm coming from. So today I want to talk about 4 mindsets and areas that we can work on as parents to pass down generational healing. And I'm going to just be very honest. Mindset has been a very hard thing for me to do. I have been struggling with my mindset, and mother or parenthood, it has been very, very difficult for me lately. And this video is not at all about being perfect, right? It's just about intentionality and being aware of the work that we have to do as individuals. Anyone who aspires to be a parent, I think this could benefit you. I am speaking from a space of healing, or working on my healing, right? Working on understanding the areas that I need to work, that I still fall short with, and understanding that everything that I am is going to be a ripple effect of what my child is or what my son is. So if I want my son to have stability, I need to work on stability, because where else is he going to learn that thing except from me? So quick disclaimer, I'm going to be keeping these videos short because I value my time and I value your time too. So I'm going to be putting a timer. So y'all let me know if I pass 10 minutes. But the goal is to keep these videos at 10 minutes because I feel like the message can be given in 10 minutes. Okay, so just be holding me accountable and saying, my sister, is 11 minutes. Okay, so I know where I am. But let's get to it, okay? Since we ain't got much time, I'm just gonna share with you some statistics that I felt like was necessary for us as mothers to be aware, and for our partners or our baby daddies or whatever to be aware of the mental battle we face as women. 1 in 5 women will experience a mental health disorder, often anxiety or depression, during pregnancy or after childbirth. This is from the CDC. Women are twice as likely as men to experience anxiety disorders. This risk significantly increases during reproductive transition, especially during postpartum. Now, I'm not even gonna get into perinatal and postpartum because it's a whole nother topic that I will discuss in some form. But as women in general, if you have a child, because you have a child, you are more likely to have some type of mental disorder. Now, this comes with different factors, just giving birth itself, the hormones and dysfunction that goes on in your body just to create this beautiful being. Child. And shout outs to the mothers. And I experienced perinatal, I experienced postpartum. Pregnancy was very difficult for me. So 1 in 5 women are most likely to build some type of disorders. That's from the CDC. So this one, on top of all the natural experiences we have in life, right? The external situations that we have, like what happens outside of us, outside of our control, outside of our bodies, the environment, the economic situations, the experiences we have in life. I shared my raw experience as a mother, what I went through while my son was pregnant. I went through grief. That's an external situation, right? COVID affected everybody. Those are all external stresses that we face as human beings, right? So let's put that into consideration on top of like generational trauma, the things that we are passed down, that we've experienced growing up, that our parents have experienced, that we've inherited. So women, my ladies, y'all feel me when I talk about mental health is important, because one, there are factors that you will not be able to control. There are factors that you're going to establish just by being pregnant and having a child and raising them. When I talk about emotional stability, is because I've seen how it impacted my child, and this is why I think it's important for parents to work on stability. What is stability? It is defined as a safe, predictable environment where children can grow, explore, and trust. How can stability be cultivated? Emotional stability can be cultivated through emotional regulation. This helps you respond rather than react as a parent, so your child learns safety through calm. I haven't been the best at that because of what I've experienced. And knowledge is power, understanding that my trauma is affecting my reactions. I am also teaching my child how to respond to trauma. So that's one. Let's talk about stability. How can we teach our children stability? By learning stability. How can you put things in place in your life so that you can be stable? I talked about this in my last video. Our children will not do as we say necessarily, but they will do as they see us do. They're watching through our model. We are setting the blueprints. So how are we going to set the blueprints through stability? Clarity and peace of mind help you stay present. It models resilience and sound decision making. This is one way we can practice and teach our kids stability through our own work, right? How can we practice mental stability? For me, particularly, I understood that the effects of trauma messed up my mental stability because my mind, there's a book that I would recommend you guys read if you're into like self-help books, called Stop Overthinking, and understanding that my mind was not at a good place because it was always just on the go. I can tell when my mind is not good because it affects every other area. Mental stability is the most important thing, I feel, that kind of helps the other areas of being stable. Mental stability has a lot to do with how we see things. And it's not necessarily what happens to us, but what we think about what happens to us. It's not about like what was done to you, but what you think about what was done to you and how you internalize what was done to you. Everything starts with our thoughts. I am in this journey of renewing my mind and reframing my thoughts, and that's how I can implement mental stability as a parent. And that's what I want to teach my son, how to be mentally strong, not have your emotions rule this, but have your mind rule this. How do we establish that? There's different ways. For me, I've talked about this in the past videos. Working out is another way that I build mental stability, is forcing myself to do the things that I don't want to. Being on this video right now, talking to the tube, is something that I don't have the energy to do, but I am working on mental stability. So parents, women, let's normalize mental stability. In this past 2 years, I've done a lot of reactive responses because my son had a lot of health issues. I started to pay attention how he would pick up on my responses. And I remember one day, one of his pediatricians telling me that don't panic or else he will panic. And I was like, what do you mean I'm not supposed to be panicking? I am going through this. This is scary. And for first-time parents, you're going to have to learn this the hard way too. I do want to preface this, that these instabilities do come from a place of brokenness and hurt and pain and trauma. So please don't compare yourself to someone who has not went through any trauma, okay? This is just for you to be aware how trauma affects your stability and how that ripples to your children. So emotional stability is learning to respond, not react. Again, that comes from mental stability, understanding your thought patterns. So if there's a trigger, your child, for my child, if he's sick or if he cries, before I would just react and panic. Stress and anxiety is a response, a mind and body disconnection where your brain's trying to protect you because of traumatic experiences. Your brain is going on like, oh, we're in danger, run, flight or fight, and not everything is always flight or fight. And you have to have that process when, as a parent, going through life, going through layoffs, going through economic situation, how are you teaching your child to respond? If you grow up in a family where there's never enough, your child learns that there's never enough. But sometimes we just can't control that, right? How do we teach our children, even if we are in that place where we don't have enough, or if we are rich, how to understand money, how to understand the value of it, and how to even reframe from scarcity to abundance? I was talking to my sister and she was talking about like how she avoids telling her daughter that if her daughter asks for something and she says, she refrains herself from saying mommy doesn't have it. Instead, she says, well, that she uses words to say that, okay, right now it's not in the budget, but we will look back at it in the future, right? How do we have those conversations to not trigger our children in always being scarce if we are in a place where we don't have it? But even if we do have it, how do we teach our children how to budget? Whether it's through allowances, but how do we handle our money? And I'm guilty. I have to say I am horrible with, let me not say horrible. I'm doing so much better because I know my husband's going to look at this video. So don't be throwing shade. But I'm doing so much better than I did probably 2 years ago. I'm going through this season and God has really had to work on me on working with what I have, because I used to impulsively spend. But as a mom who's always going to be with my child, I'm going to be teaching him how to handle money. And if I'm a mom that wants to get into business, I'm going to teach my child how to handle business. So how are we becoming what we want our children to be when it comes to finances? What are the conversations? How do we frame money? How do we avoid promoting scarcity in opposed to promoting abundance and teaching children how to budget, not spending when you want it, but saving for what you want? The other thing that is very, very important, not everybody can relate to it, but if you're on my channel, you probably do, and it's spiritual stability. Spiritual stability offers grounding and consistent values, especially during life's uncertainties. I am in a season and I cannot go through this season without my faith in God. I want to teach my child that. So how do I model that? How do I go to God when times are tough? How do I demonstrate that in my house? How do I model that when life is out of control, God is in control? How do I model this through verses and reading the Bible and praying? How am I modeling that as a parent? So those are the 4 areas that I really wanted to discuss in regards to stability. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and leave any comments and areas that you guys may, mothers, fathers, that you guys may be going through, or different areas that you're working on right now that you may have experienced differently as growing up, and maybe areas that you saw modeled positively that affected you right now. And For me, I mentioned in the past, it was spiritual stability. My parents modeled going to God. The other thing I do want to talk about too is like physical stability, right? Physical stability is how we take care of our health. How do we model that to our children? How do we show them that we have a healthy lifestyle? How do we show them that we value our health by the food choices that we eat? Do you go and walk every day? Does your child see you walking? Does your child see you working out? Honestly, mental, emotional, physical helps with the financial, like they all work in being whole together. So prioritizing one of those, prioritizing any of those, or all of those would help you be a better person for yourself and a better parent in general. I do want to end this by emphasizing again, the best thing that you can give your child is the best version of you, is a happy, whole you. Not perfect, but whole. Thanks for tuning in and stay tuned for the next series.